Hi everybody, this is Maritza Molis, and you are listening to the Autism Stress Less podcast, where each week we take a few minutes to talk about stressing less when you are caring for a child with autism. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Autism Stress Less podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of the day you are listening to, guys. What's up?
So today we're going to talk about tips for nonverbal autism, and the reason why we're going to do that is because it hits close to home for us.
Yes.
We have Jaden, who is now 12 years old, and he has level 3 autism, epilepsy, pica, a whole bunch of other stuff. But he is nonverbal for the most part. He now does say quite a few bit of things just because he's 12, and we've constantly and consistently worked with him over the years.
Right, and also all the schooling, the ABA, a lot of the techs, got to give credit there.
Yeah, for sure.
But he has come a long way, and for younger parents, this is kind of just a podcast for you guys to kind of tell our story with Jay.
Well, not younger parents, because there might be older parents that have newly diagnosed kids too.
That's true.
So I kind of know what he means. You know what he means, right?
Yes.
So I'm
always vague with my breakdown. I just kind of throw it out there, guys. You gotta get used to that.
Yeah. So those of you who have newly diagnosed kids on the spectrum, level 3 probably is who we're talking to today. For those of you who have kids that are nonverbal, that are having a hard time communicating with you, this is for you. So if you can grab a notebook and a pen or your phone, and just write some stuff down. Hopefully this will help you guys today. So let's just dive right in. So number 1, to get your child to learn to communicate, I say start slowly by paying attention to their likes and dislikes.
Sure. This is a big one. And again, it's just, you do this with your neurotypical kids as well. Mm-hmm. You pay attention to signs, body language, facial expressions. But with Jaden, it was pretty obvious because it was much more dramatic along the lines of spitting, screaming,
head banging.
Right. So then we'd be like, okay, he doesn't like this, or he's mad about this. Mm-hmm. But now over time we have tried to work on that. But still, it's the same concept. Still applies,
right. So we still kind of, let's talk about the younger side. So for your children who are newly diagnosed and they're nonverbal, like Kev said, just pay attention to the likes and the dislikes. What are they doing that upsets them? So are they screaming when they're doing something? Or do you see that they're happy in an activity? So those are the times where you kind of want to engage in communication with them. If you see that they're liking playing with a bouncing ball.
Right.
That's when you want to start talking, like, oh, okay, you like bouncing the ball. You're getting to know your child. Right. Or, you see them watching like Yo Gabba Gabba or like Curious George, or they like Martha Speaks on PBS. Anything that your child is, you see that they like something, then that's when you want to sit with them and say, and you start pointing stuff out on the TV. You like that dog. All right. Good job. Because the more that you engage into their world, the more that they're going to want to communicate with you because, just like anybody else, you're getting to know your child and they love that kind of stuff. But do notice their likes, their dislikes, food and stuff like that too. That was a biggie.
Yeah, that was a real big one. Oops.
He would spit stuff out when he was younger and let us know real quick that he didn't like it. He would throw it across the room, knock it off the table. Right. So just pay attention to those kinds of things because then you can engage in conversation with them. Number 2, keep it simple with language.
Yes, this is a big one.
Right. So going back to the likes and dislikes, right?
We learned that when we were much younger and not as educated, we would totally be throwing full sentences at Jaden, not really understanding how his brain works.
Right, because their brain function is different from ours.
Right, and then we would get frustrated, like, why is he not listening? Why is he not understanding? And then over time, we've realized you have to keep it short and sweet. No more than 4 or 5 words.
Yeah, you want to do at least 2 to 4 word sentences.
Yeah.
Because anything above that for our children that are nonverbal, it is really hard for them to process.
Yes.
So, if you see that your child is liking a TV show, you can say, that's great, or if you see that they like a food item, You can just keep it simple, you know.
Right.
You like that food? That's 4 words right there.
Right.
You like that food? You like this? Oh, that's good, you know.
And you can always do nicknames in your house when your child likes certain things. You can nickname shows, or like, for example, here's a good one. So we have Bob the Builder the Ice Pack. And we have had Bob the Builder the Ice Pack for years.
Yeah.
And Jaden is a big old beast right now. And even to this day, he looks like he's country strong. He will tap his head and he will scream, crime, bloody murder.
Right.
And now we just say, boo-boo hurt, boo-boo.
Yeah.
And then we say, Bob the Builder, right? We ask him. That's pretty much asking. And he knows Bob the Builder because we've been using Bob the Builder for years.
Right. So
and
you
it
kind
all
of
started with boo-boo, right?
Yeah.
And now he says...
Boo-boo ice. Now he'll say boo-boo ice, boo-boo
Yeah,
ice.
boo-boo ice.
So it's like, yeah, go get Bob the Builder,
Right.
you know, in the freezer, whatever.
So there's an example of something we did in our house, but you guys, for your situations, just figure out what works. Find some funny sayings, some simple things for your kids.
Right.
So the comprehension is much easier
Right.
on both ends.
Right, so you're keeping the language simple. So, you know, like Kevin was saying, for like, you know, for those hurts and things like that, like even till this day too, like I've taught him from an early age, you know, like tell me, you know, show me where it hurts, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always like
That's a good
tugging on his ears, or, you know, kind of tapping his throat or his chest and stuff. And so till this day, he'll look at me and he'll say, ear hurts, because for so many years I would say, okay, you know, you've got to show me these things.
Mm-hmm.
So they do, you know, start to communicate with you once you start to communicate with them. Number 3, remove sensory distractions. So when I say to remove those sensory distractions, I say like remove the sights, the sounds, because some of our kids have sensory issues. So when you remove those sights and sounds when you're trying to communicate with them, it's much better for you. So like, for instance, when Jaden would be fixated on opening and closing a cabinet door, and I needed him to hurry up and get over because we had to leave or whatever, I wait for that perfect moment where I saw he was like engaging, and then would stop, and then I would say, okay, come on, let's go, it's time to go, you know. Or like if you see that your kid is spinning wheels on a car, wait until they're finished and then say, okay, you know, it's time, you know, it's time to stop, or let's go, you know. You're
Right.
kind of transitioning them from whatever it is that they're doing. So removing those sensory distractions, wait until they're finished with the activity so you can communicate
Right.
with them.
And then if you do, and I'm piggybacking off that topic, if you don't do that, what we learned is it's chaos on both ends. You are going to stress your child out because you're interrupting them while they're totally focused.
Right.
And then you're going to be frustrated because they're not listening. So that's something over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but you will figure out, and you will learn your child, and you will also have to, you will learn from them, and they will teach you on how to appropriately do that with timing. So
Right.
timing is a lot of things, because there's going to be in their elements where they're zoned in and they are not hearing a thing.
Like Jaden with music now. That's how he is. So if you don't
Right.
like...
All right, so now he's totally, guys, he's in the music, headphones, like I look like a teenager, and it's wonderful for us because he actually is independent, he'll do his thing, but to try to bother him, for example, in the midst of a Lady
forget
Gaga song, like
Oh, forget it.
spitting is coming right in our face, like
Yeah, it's like,
something's getting thrown.
it's like, let's just wait until that song is finished.
Right.
Let's just wait until he's done, and then we can say, hey, Jay, let's do this,
Right.
you know?
And early on, we didn't know any of this.
Right.
We would just, come on, Jay, bath now, like
Right.
while he's in the midst of something, but that's definitely a good one to focus on, guys.
Yeah. So those are like some of the things. Those are 3 things. And we're back. Okay, so now I want to talk to you guys about finding other alternatives to communicate.
And the first one, this is a big one, the most obvious one, and that is sign language. A lot of different parents choose to go the sign language route, and some do not. And again, that's totally your opinion as a parent on what you want to do. But people we've known, channels I've watched on YouTube, and there's a lot of people that use sign with their kids, not just with autism.
Right.
That is obviously the most common thing. So yeah, you can nip a lot of things in the butt and help yourself and your child out with communication.
For sure.
Throwing yourself into sign.
Yeah, so when Jaden was about 3 years old, doing early intervention and things like that, I had him in speech therapy, occupational therapy, which I'm sure you guys have your children in also. One of the big things that they talked about was signing times. So you can find signing times, DVDs on Amazon. You can actually go to the library, you guys, and get signing times DVDs and things like that, and books even, that can kind of help you to learn some of the easy signs. You know, for instance, like I used to use like more or eat or book or like things like that, you know, you would use on a daily basis with your child. You know, just things like that. Signing times DVD was really cool because every morning I would pop it in the portable DVD player while he was eating breakfast, and that's what he would watch.
Right.
And they like it because it's got music in it. You know, there's kids in it that are signing, so it's fun for them. Another avenue would be, of course, the picture exchange system, or what they call PECS. So the PECS system is used all over for our kids that have nonverbal autism. You can go on Pinterest and look up picture exchange system, and you're going to see a ton of stuff that comes up, that pops up. But one of the ones that I like a lot is, if you guys can write it down, www.Kori, Kori, at home.com. She's a really cool mom. She teaches you step by step how to make your own picture exchange system by, you know, getting pictures and laminating them, getting Velcro strips, putting them in a nice binder and things like that, so it's organized for you and your child. But the picture exchange system does work, and it worked a lot for us too in the beginning with Jaden.
Totally did, yes.
We even had stuff like on doors where it would be like, first, you know, you would put a picture, do this, then do this activity, and that worked a lot with him. He liked it. So like we were talking to you guys earlier, you know, find out their likes and dislikes, even with communication devices. You know, some kids may like sign and take it easily. They may like PECS and like it, you know, or maybe they don't now. Like Jaden doesn't really do anything with PECS now.
No, zero interest.
So, I mean, he'll bring up the picture exchange binder to me, and he'll show me something like that he wants, like a pudding or something, but he doesn't use it on the daily.
Right, and I think what's changed there is to see, because he's growing up, he's bigger, he's stronger, he can go and get things much more independently, and he'll just show us, right? Like, so I want this.
That's how he communicates.
Yeah, but back then, it really was a lifesaver. He used the heck out of the PECS book, but over time we learned he only picked certain things because he liked certain things, like certain toys, and obviously food is the number one thing he would always be showing us pictures of.
Food and like
pizza, popcorn,
the trampoline. It was always like things that he used quite frequently, or like even the basement. Like we had a picture of the basement. He would always show me the picture of the basement when he was little. So I mean, you guys they'll let you know what interests them the most, and you just take hold of that and keep working with that.
So with the PECS, what I was trying to get at, I guess, is make as many pictures as you can, because it can't hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And then if they only use 5, well, that's great. I mean, you're starting somewhere, you have a baseline, and you're being able to communicate with your child, which is the best feeling. You're getting to know what's inside their head and what they want. So, again, baby steps. Got to start somewhere.
And, read lots of books to your child. I know sometimes our kids, they don't, take to certain things, or they may be moving about. But if your child's little, put, a gate in your child's bedroom doorway, so that way when you're reading to them, they can walk around and stuff like that while you're reading. They don't necessarily have to sit with you or sit on the bed and stuff like that. Just let them roam around while you're reading books to them, because they will eventually take to a book. Like, I used to read tons of books to Julian, Jaden, and Sebastian, and Jaden only took to Goodnight Moon and Owl Babies for some reason, but he knows those books religiously because I used to read them to him. So, I mean, they will pick something that they like. Just don't give up. Keep doing that. And lastly, we're going to talk about body movement. So now, when I talk about body movements, it's kind of like, when your child does something that, you're happy with, you give them a fist bump, or you give them a high five, or you give them winks. So you're always encouraging your child. You're communicating with them with body movements. And that's super important, wouldn't you say that that's like super important?
Well, yeah, because it's another form of reinforcement. You're not always, going and grabbing Skittles or something like we used to always do. But
Right.
I mean, they're still kids. They
Yeah, 'cause their
still
teeth will fall out.
they still want that playing off each other kind of mentality. I can't think of the word right now, but you know, showing that you're proud of them, showing, you know, you're happy with what they just did. They love
Right,
that reinforcement,
absolutely.
and it puts a smile on Jay's face, and you know, it makes them very proud. Like I can tell, like I'm over the top with Jay saying thank you because he's nonverbal. Like even when he blesses me till this day, he's so good at blessing, right?
Right, because sometimes we forget now when you sneeze, you know, we're like kind of just going about and he'll be like, bless you!
Right, like he'll be on the other side of the house because his OCD repetition, like that's his thing. But I always try to make sure I say thank you, like that was awesome, just to verbally reinforce. And I don't know how much that is sinking in with him,
Yeah.
but as a parent, I just want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to try to help him grow in that part.
Right.
So again, verbal is
Like-
just as important as other
yeah.
things like sign and, you know,
For
like
sure. And the body movements, the fist
body,
bumps,
yeah,
the high
yeah.
fives, the winks.
And
you
I'm
know.
very animated, like we've talked about.
Oh yeah,
So like,
Kevin's way more animated than I am.
so I get excited with him and do things like in the music video we just made on YouTube. I show a picture of real quick a video. He pushed a button of doing the laundry, guys, and I jumped around and I hugged him and yeah, that wasn't a big deal, right? He can push a button, but he's slowly starting to do laundry. All right, we're slowly teaching him like the basic concepts because that is going to be a life chore. So, just a little 2 cents on that. Okay, moving on.
All right, so
I'll shut up.
so for emotions, I just wanted to just touch base on, like, if you guys are having a hard time getting your child to kind of tell you, like, I'm sad, I'm mad, things like that. There's this website, www.way2goodlife.com. It's way2goodlife.com for an emotions box, and the mom is really cool. Like, she teaches you how to do this emotions box using the movie Inside Out. So I thought that was like a really cool way to kind of get parents to be like, okay, this is going to kind of teach my child how to tell us and communicate their emotions to us. And also, there's music therapists too that can help you bring that kind of stuff out of your child to kind of help them communicate, you know, if they're happy, sad, silly, mad, whatever, you know, those emotions can be.
And if you haven't seen the movie, it's a Disney movie, and
It's so much
each
fun.
character is an emotion. So it's actually very clever by her. Again, it might take, it might not take, but it's a brilliant idea, and it's something we would have used for sure years ago. We would have tried that because it's very important to understand what your child's feeling, like what emotions they're feeling, so they can express it to you.
Yep.
And then you have a better understanding of how to handle that situation.
So, we're going to talk about some fun activities that you could do with your child.
To finish up here.
Yeah, so I would just start with music, right? Music is always
Yes, number
one thing. I mean, we listen to it all the time. It's good for your mind, it's good for your spirit, and for your kids, it's wonderful to get them to help to start communicating, especially when they're itty bitty. So when Jaden was itty bitty, I always had music playing around the house, and I sing a lot, so I would make up songs for him, like bath time songs and, you know, food time songs and things like that, because those are ways that I could get him to communicate, because then he eventually learned the songs and would sing them back to me, or kind of initiate it to where he'd be like, it's like time to take a bath, and he'd initiate those kinds of things. So music is really good.
Right. And then any kind of water play, right? Is always fun. You can't go wrong with swimming, but then again, there's so many little things that have come out now. You see these ideas on Pinterest and all that. Just great, clever ideas that you can do in your house. You don't have to go outside your house.
So if you're afraid of, like, your child, you know, and swimming and stuff like that, we've talked about, you know, like when Jaden was little, you guys could use sprinklers. You can do water balloons. Like, we know people that like to do the water balloons.
Right.
Just any kind of water play. Like,
And until this day, like, Jaden says one word, outside, right? And he'll point, and especially when the sprinkler's out there. So, like, again, it's one word, but he lets us know what he's thinking because he loves water play.
yeah, he'll say go swimming now because he's older and he likes swimming.
So Swimming?
Yeah, swimming.
Right. So cute. So cute.
It's awesome, you know, like
Yeah.
once they get to that point to where, you know, they're so used to
Right.
you kind of communicating those kinds of things that they like to do. Again.
And they're always going to communicate more when they are motivated
right.
and want something.
For sure.
So if you don't know that, you will learn.
You'll learn. So we talked about music, water play. How about turn-taking games, kind of like Go Fish?
Yeah, fish.
Yeah, or Connect Four.
Connect Four is a good one because again, Connect Four is a great one because you got the sensory noise.
Sensory, yeah.
Of the dropping. Right, Jaden loves the dropping of the chips on top of the colors and lining things up. So it's things like that. Hungry Hippo is a fun one. There's not much to it. You just hit the back of the hippo.
Yeah, you got to teach them at an early age to do this kind of stuff, you
right.
know, and eventually they get it. You know, you just don't give up on trying to teach them how to play these certain kinds of games.
And again, they'll take to some, and then they won't, and then they'll let you know which ones they want to do, and that will make it much easier on you for, you know, downtime, fun time with your kids.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Potato Head too.
Yeah.
Is the last one. Like I love Mr. Potato Head because you can even go to like a thrift store and get like a whole bunch of pieces from Mr. Potato Head.
Gigantic bag.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can teach them all about body parts. You can teach them all about, you know, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the hands, you know, all these different things that our kids need to learn. Mm-hmm. You can make them learn it through Mr. Potato Head. And it's a fun little, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't?
And Play-Doh. Play-Doh's also good too. If your kid has pica, not so good.
Yeah.
But
be careful.
So pica is when your child eats non-edible food items. Jaden does have pica. And if your child has pica, you probably won't be able to play much with Play-Doh.
Right.
Or Flarp. But if your child does not have pica, then go get Play-Doh and Flarp, you know? You'll be able to teach them all kinds of stuff with that.
And I love how we're just talking about Flarp, like everyone knows what Flarp is, though.
I'm sorry. Flarp, you can get it at the Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar.
It's fantastic.
All these dollar stores. It's kind of like slime, you guys.
Right.
But it's Flarp.
But it holds together really well.
Yeah, much better than slime.
Yeah, and Jay will drop it or hold it and let it just drop to the floor, and it stays together, and it's just something. It's become part of our household. So again, it's something we learned as time went on. Just fun things to do that doesn't require much communication, and he'll just, you know, point at it, say Flarp. Mm-hmm. So let's summarize. Let's get into the end here. I just wanted to say my 2 cents. Again, as always, I know I repeat myself, but every household, every child, every situation is different. So everything we just gave you, you have to pick and choose. You have to figure out what works and does not work for your child. But as long as you're active and you're doing the best you can, sorry about that, and you're trying all these and you're experimenting, the main thing is trial and error. Figure it out, have patience, know that there's going to be some big old misfires. You're going to try things that your child is going to hate you for. Like, how dare you do this, right? And they'll scream and they'll cry. But the point is, your job as a parent is to do as much as you can and figure it out with trial and error.
That's right. So, I mean, I hope that you guys will take all of these tips that we have for nonverbal autism and put it in your toolbox as parents.
You guys can do this.
Yes, absolutely. So
baby steps.
So that would be, you know, our stressless skill for the week is to just have fun with your nonverbal child. And the ways to do that are the ways that we gave you in this podcast, was to, you know, get your child learn to communicate by paying attention to their likes and dislikes, keeping the language simple, you know, listening to all these different ways that they like to communicate, finding alternatives like sign language, PEC system, things like that. And just having fun with your child. That's how you put it into practice.
Yes, and if all else fails, just wrestle and beat them up.
Yeah.
Because what kid doesn't like that?
Or steamrollers.
Right. I've created so many games. We didn't get into that, but I've created so many ridiculous games to the point where now Jaden, they are instilled in his head, and he requests them verbally. So, again, don't forget the human parent element. Be creative, and you can think of anything. It's amazing. All right, guys, have a great week. I hope this has helped you out in some way, shape, or form.
Have
God
a
bless
blessed
you.
week. Yes, absolutely. All right, guys.